Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Hello students, in data handling till now we have studied collection of data, that what are the points we should keep in our mind while collecting the data, and then we have studied organization of data, that how should we organize the data so that the interpretation becomes easier and better, and then we have studied how to find arithmetic mean, or we can simply call it as mean of the data. We have seen mean was equal to sum of the observations divided by number of observations. And then we have seen how to find range of the data. Range is difference between highest observation and the lowest observation. And then we have seen how to find mode of the data. Mode is basically most frequently occurring observation in the data, or the observation which has occurred most number of times is mode. And then we have seen how to find median of the data. Median is basically middle value of the observation or the middle value of the data when it is arranged in ascending or descending order. And then we have studied about the bar graphs, that how we can draw bar graphs from the tabular form of the data and how to interpret informations from the bar graphs. All these things we have already studied. Now in this video we are going to study about probability. We will be introducing probability here now. Now the words are chance and probability. We come across these words in our day-to-day life very commonly. We use both these words in many statements. Like we say, there are chances of raining today. There is no chance of raining today. There are chances that India will win the World Cup. Or we say, there are no chances that sun will rise from west. Similarly, for the probability also, we use it very commonly in our day-to-day life. Now the different situations in our life can be categorized into three different categories. The first one is certain to happen. That is, some events are sure events, that they will always happen. So we will write it as certain to happen. Now for example, we can say sun will rise from east. This is for sure that sun will rise from east only. Or the event can be sun will rise today. These are the sure events. So these are certain to happen. And then we can have events which are impossible to happen. Let's say sun will not rise today. It is not possible. Or we say sun will rise from west. This is also not possible. These events are impossible events. Or suppose we say, if we roll a die, we say we will get a number which is greater than 6. Will it be possible? No, it is not possible. So this event is impossible event, or this situation is impossible to happen. And at the third, we can have events or situations that can happen but are not certain. So we will write it as not certain but can happen. Now for example, if we say it will rain today. So this is not sure event. This is not a certain event, but it can happen. It may rain or it may not rain today. Or we can say India will win the match. So it is not a certain event. We are not sure whether India will win or not, but India may win or India may not win. This can happen, but it is not sure. These events are in this category, not certain but can happen. Now let's try to understand these terms more clearly. Let's consider these statements. The first statement is the sun coming up from the west. So what do you think, what kind of statement this is? Is it a certain to happen, or impossible to happen, or can happen but not certain? So as we know, sun always comes up from east. So this event or this statement is impossible to happen. Now the second statement is the ant growing to 3-meter height. Is it possible? No, it is not possible. This event is also impossible, or we can say this situation is impossible to happen. Now the third one is, if you take a cube of larger volume, its side will also be larger. Yeah, this is obvious that if we are taking a cube of larger volume, then its side has to be larger only. Then only volume will be the larger. Therefore, this situation is certain to happen. Now the fourth statement here is, if you take a circle with larger area, then its radius will also be larger. Yes, this is also certain to happen. If we are taking a circle with larger area, then its radius will obviously be larger only. Then only the area is larger. Therefore, this is also certain to happen. Now the fifth statement here is, India winning the next test series. Now this situation is not certain, but it can happen. So therefore it will come under the category not certain but can happen. Now suppose you tossed a coin 25 times and you have noted down the outcomes. So this table here is showing the outcomes which you have received. Now based on these outcomes, can you tell what will be your outcome in the 26th toss? No, it is not possible, because it is just a matter of chance. Because in every toss we can either get a tail or we can get a head. Both are having equal chances to happen. Now let us see what do we mean by the term probability. Now suppose we toss a coin. Now can you tell me what is the probability of getting a toss? Now can you tell me what is the probability of getting a tail? So probability of getting a tail will be equal to 1 upon 2, or we can say it is half, because in total there are two events that can happen. Either we can get heads or we can get tails. So probability of both the events will be half each. Now suppose we roll a die. What is the probability of getting a number 3? So probability of getting a number 3 will be 1 upon 6, because here the total possible outcomes were 6. So we can say probability is basically favorable outcomes or number of favorable outcomes. We can say number of favorable outcomes divided by total number of possible outcomes, or we can simply write total number of outcomes. Now suppose we are having a box in which there are 5 chits and they are marked from 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now suppose we have to select one chit at a random. What is the probability that it will be a 4? So probability of getting 4 will be 1 upon 5, because here the favorable outcome is only 1 and the total possible outcomes or the total number of outcomes are 5, and there we can get 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or 4. we can get any one of these numbers. So probability of getting 4 is 1 upon 5. Similarly, probability of getting 2 will also be 1 upon 5. Now since the probability is ratio of number of favorable outcomes and total number of outcomes, so probability of any event A will always be less than or equal to 1, or it will be greater than equal to 0. It will be 0 if the event is impossible event, and it will be 1 if the event is certain event, or we can say it is sure event. It will always happen. So the basically probability of any event lies between 1 and 0, or we can say it lies between 0 and 1.